Hi guys, this is the listening file for Friday truth level class. Sorry, there was a listening link error before, so the other listening file, please don't listen to this. Listen to that. Listen to this one. Okay, here we go. Good luck.
I'm joined today by Matthew Piscatelli, who has worked as an archaeologist, a university professor, and an explorer for the National Geographic Society. Welcome, Matthew, and thank you for being here. Now, my first question for you is this: why should people care about archaeology?
Why should we care about some stones and bones? I think it's important to study objects from the past, from ancient civilizations, because of the old cliche that we learn about the future by studying the past. The past is who we are. We learn more about where we come from, and it helps us learn more about our identity today. We need to study those ancient civilizations so we can help prepare for the future. And archaeology is also important because it inspires curiosity. People feel a connection to the past when I say, you're walking in the footsteps of ancient people, or this is what it was like to live 5,000 years ago. I think there's something very interesting about that. So it's important that we as archaeologists not simply do our excavations, write a report, and then file that away where nobody will read about it. We need to communicate what we do and the importance of what we do. We need to ask ourselves, why does what you propose to do really matter? Who's going to care beyond a few specialists in your field? Are you asking questions that can inform us about humanity, about culture?
Those are all great questions. Now, I think it's fair to say that when most people think about archaeology, they think about uncovering objects from cultures like ancient Greece, Rome, and Egypt. Why do you think that is? What is it about societies like these that inspires us so much?
So there are a lot of famous sites in the world, like Stonehenge and the pyramids of Giza, that people are always excited to learn about. And there's something charismatic about them. They have been around for thousands of years. People, not just us today as consumers of media or tourists, but there have been tourists for hundreds of years. So people have constantly been interested in these sites. And I think it's from the charisma, the wonder, the awe of these sites. It's something about archaeology that makes us wonder. What was it like to live in the past? What was it like to build the pyramids or to build Stonehenge? What did they mean? Those voices aren't here to talk to us today.
Are there any archaeological sites or ancient cultures you think people should know more about?
When we look at all of the work that our National Geographic explorers are doing all over the world, we come to realize that the world is a very ancient place, and there are a lot of civilizations out there to be discovered. Now, in some of those places, like in Egypt, there's a long history of study. Some other places are more like the Wild West, in that we don't know as much. For example, in Peru, we know Machu Picchu. We know some sites along the north coast of Peru, which are very famous. But there are some other sites along the north central coast of Peru where there are the earliest pyramids in the New World. They are 5,000 years old. They're almost as large as the pyramids of Giza, but there's been very little study of them whatsoever. So the important thing to think about is that there's so much history out there just waiting to be discovered. And that's why we have to continue to explore.
You've talked about what we can learn from archaeology in general terms. Now I'd like you to think of specific examples from your work in the field and your collaborations with local people. How can archaeology bring the past to life? How can it help us hear the voices of the past, as you suggested earlier?
One of the communities where I work is called Huaricanga, which is in Peru. I work with individuals who have been living at the archaeological site for 30 years. And some of them had no idea that the mounds and hills around their houses were actually the remains of ancient civilizations that have been there for 5,000 years. And through their participation, the collaborative efforts of myself and those community members, they start to realize that there is history around them and that it's their history. We had this one instance where an individual had a table in his house, this nice stone table, and he had actually taken the stone from one of the nearby pyramids. He had no idea what it was used for in the past. But as we did our excavations and he worked on our team, he learned the importance of the past and realized the connection that he had was much deeper than he had originally thought.
Matthew Piscatelli, thank you so much.
Good luck, guys.